I had always thought a weekend cabin trip in the woods would be peaceful. The fog hung low between the trees, and the wind whispered through the pines, cold and unsettling. I was alone, or at least I thought I was. As night fell, I heard the first knock on the cabin door. My heart skipped. I wasn't expecting anyone. The knocking stopped, replaced by a soft whisper. "I see you." I grabbed my flashlight, moving cautiously through the cabin. Shadows twisted unnaturally along the walls. Then I heard it again, from the forest outside, a voice calling my name, soft, deliberate, and chilling. The fog pressed against the windows like living fingers. I peeked outside. A dark silhouette slipped between the trees, impossible to identify, watching me. Every instinct screamed to run, but the doors wouldn't lock, and the windows rattled as if breathing.
Come here.
The whispers grew louder, closer, inside my own mind. I could feel a presence behind me, even when I turned around, an unseen figure, patient, observing, waiting. I stumbled into the forest, thinking I could escape, but the trees bent unnaturally, paths twisting endlessly. The shadow followed, fluid and silent, always at the edge of my vision. My flashlight flickered, then died, leaving me in complete darkness. Finally, I reached a clearing. Relief was brief. My backpack shifted on the ground, and the whisper came directly into my ear. "You can't leave. You belong to me." The fog swirled around me, the night alive, with eyes that weren't human. I ran blindly, my breath ragged, but the forest was endless. Behind me, I could hear soft knocking, footsteps, whispers, and the shadow, patient, waiting for me to falter. Even now, I can't forget it. The cabin, the woods, the shadow, they're all inside my mind. The whisper follows me everywhere, always patient, always watching. I know one day it will claim me fully, and when it does, there will be no escape. It was past midnight, and the rain tapped insistently against my apartment window, each drop sounding like tiny fingers drumming on glass. I was sitting at my desk, staring at the dull glow of my laptop screen, scrolling through meaningless notifications. The silence was heavy, almost tangible, pressing down on me. That's when my phone vibrated violently on the wooden table, jolting me upright. The screen lit up with a number I didn't recognize. Hesitation clawed at me, but curiosity won. I answered. A whisper slithered through the line, soft, deliberate, and chilling. "John." My name, carried by a voice that was both familiar and impossible. My pulse quickened, my chest tightened. I hadn't called anyone. I didn't know this number. The whisper came again, closer, almost as if it were inside my apartment with me. "John." I couldn't stay seated. Something was wrong. Terribly wrong. I grabbed my flashlight and walked through the apartment, each creaking floorboard echoing like a warning. Shadows danced along the walls, shifting in impossible ways. The whisper returned, softer, floating, teasing. "John?" Every step I took felt heavier than the last, the darkness around me thickening, almost alive. I tried to tell myself it was just nerves, just imagination, but deep down, I knew better. The hallway stretched endlessly before me, the weak beam of my flashlight trembling in my hand. That's when I saw it, a shadow, fleeting at first, then more defined, moving fluidly along the walls. Not like a person, not like anything human. I froze, my voice caught in my throat. "Who's there?" I whispered. Silence answered. And then the whisper again, from my phone, closer this time. "John, I'm here." My heart slammed in my chest. I stumbled backward, tripping over the edge of the rug, the lamp swinging, throwing grotesque shapes across the walls. The feeling of being watched, hunted, enveloped me. Every instinct screamed to run, but my legs refused to obey. I made my way to the living room, heart hammering, breath ragged. Rain lashed against the window, wind howling through the slightly open curtains. Outside, I glimpsed a figure, indistinct, almost blending with the storm, staring at me with an intensity that froze my blood. I blinked, and it was gone. Just darkness, just shadows, just the storm. Then the whisper came again, right behind me. "Don't leave. I'm with you." My entire body stiffened, terror rooting me to the spot. I spun, flashlight swinging wildly, searching, but there was nothing. Only the suffocating darkness and the storm screaming outside. Collapsing onto the sofa, shaking, I stared at my phone. That's when I saw it. The number that had called me was mine. My own number. How could it be? I picked it up, my hands trembling violently, and the whisper spoke once more, directly into my ear, as if it had crawled inside the apartment itself. "I'm right behind you." My throat constricted. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. Silence followed, thick and suffocating, and yet, I still hear it. Every night, the whisper slithering through the dark corners of my apartment, shadows moving just beyond my vision. And I know, without a doubt, it's still there, patient, relentless, waiting for me to answer again. I can't sleep anymore. The lamp flickers constantly, even in daylight, and every phone call makes my skin crawl. Every shadow seems to stretch longer than it should. I've stopped answering the door. I don't check my mail. I live in a constant state of anticipation, of dread. The whisper never leaves me. It doesn't need to. I can feel it, always, behind me, in the corners, in the space between heartbeats. It's patient, it's clever, and I know, deep down, that one day, I'll see it clearly, and there will be no escape. The night stretches endlessly now, a loop of shadows and whispers. My name echoes in the apartment even when I am alone. I can hear my own voice calling me back, but it's not me. It never was me. And sometimes, just sometimes, I catch a glimpse of it in the reflection of the window, staring back with hollow eyes, waiting, smiling, always smiling. And I know that this is only the beginning. I had always thought the forest was a place of calm, a refuge from the chaos of the city. That night, however, it revealed its darker face. I decided to take a late-night hike, the fog rolling thickly between the trees, curling around the trunks like ghostly fingers. My flashlight barely pierced the darkness, and the sound of my footsteps on the damp forest floor seemed unnaturally loud, echoing through the trees. Each breath I took was visible in the cold night air, trembling and uneven. I had gone alone, thinking solitude would be comforting, but it wasn't. Silence had a weight here, a pressure that pressed down on me, threatening to crush my courage. The first strange sound came quietly, a snap of a branch behind me. I froze, my heart hammering. "It's just an animal," I whispered to myself, trying to steady my voice. But then it happened again. And again. Footsteps, deliberate, synchronized with my own, following me, though I knew I was alone. I spun around, flashlight trembling in my hand, but there was nothing, only shadows stretching unnaturally between the trees. My imagination, I tried to tell myself, but the instinct in my gut screamed otherwise. Something was here, something was watching. As I pressed on, the forest seemed to close in around me. The trees grew denser, the fog thicker, and the path beneath my feet became indistinct. Every rustle of leaves, every whisper of wind through the branches, sounded like a voice calling my name. And then I saw it, a shadow darting between the trees. Not a human shape, not any creature I had ever seen. Fluid, moving impossibly fast, always just at the edge of the flashlight's beam. My breath caught. I turned to run, but my legs refused to obey fully, as if the forest itself had claimed them. Branches snapped violently behind me. I ran blindly, stumbling over roots, the shadow gliding silently above the ground, always in pursuit. My mind raced. Should I hide, climb a tree, or just keep running? The whispering grew louder, more deliberate, as if it were threading itself into my very thoughts. "You can't leave. You can't leave me." I felt hands, cold and invisible, brushing against my back, tugging at my jacket. I screamed, my voice swallowed by the vast darkness. Finally, I burst into a small clearing, gasping, soaked in sweat and rain. The shadow didn't appear here. Relief washed over me briefly, a false reprieve. I bent over, catching my breath, scanning the fog-shrouded trees. Then I heard a soft shifting behind me, inside my backpack. My hands froze mid-motion. The whisper was unmistakable, cold and deliberate. "You can't leave me." Panic surged again. I dropped the backpack and backed away. But the forest had followed me, even here, even in this open space. Shadows stretched unnaturally along the edges of the clearing, moving just beyond my vision. The fog seemed alive, curling around my ankles like living fingers, keeping me trapped. I tried to run again, but my body moved sluggishly, as if weighted by an unseen force. The whisper grew louder, surrounding me from all directions. "You can't escape. You belong here. With me." The night stretched endlessly. I tried to find the trail back, but it had vanished, swallowed by the darkness. Every step I took was met with the sound of footsteps matching mine. Always behind, always close. The shadow never fully revealed itself, never allowed me to see it clearly. Yet I felt its gaze, its presence, pressing into my spine, bending the air around me. Every instinct screamed to flee, but I realized I was already trapped. Hours, maybe minutes, passed. I lost all sense of time. The cold bit into my skin, the fog thickened, and I began to hear whispers in my mind, repeating my name, repeating commands, urging me to surrender. My flashlight flickered, dying slowly, leaving me in near total darkness. I stumbled to a large oak tree, gripping it for support, my chest heaving. And that's when I felt it, the shadow at last touching me. Not with hands, but with an intangible weight, a presence that pressed against my soul. The whisper was right in my ear now, soft, intimate, terrifying. "You belong to me. Forever." I ran, or I thought I did. The forest seemed to stretch infinitely, twisting paths, trees multiplying before my eyes. Branches reached for me like hands, roots tangled my feet, and the whispers became voices, chanting my name, mocking my fear. I tripped, fell, and the flashlight clattered, illuminating the shadow one last time. It wasn't a human, wasn't any animal, wasn't anything from this world. Its form was fluid, ever-shifting, like smoke given consciousness. It moved with a grace that defied physics, an entity born from darkness itself, patient, relentless. When I finally staggered out of the forest at dawn, I thought I had escaped. My heart raced, my lungs burned, but I was alive. The fog lifted, the trees stood silently, indifferent to my terror. I told myself it was over, I told myself it was gone. But the moment I set my backpack down at home, a soft movement caught my eye, and then the whisper, unmistakable, from inside the bag. "You can't leave me. You're mine." I don't leave my apartment anymore. I don't go outside at night. Even in daylight, the forest follows me in my mind. Shadows curl at the edges of my vision. Whispers echo in my thoughts. I know it waits for me, patient, intelligent, relentless. The shadow in the woods is not just a creature of the forest, it's a hunter, and I am its prey. And someday, if I ever falter, it will claim me completely.